Hi friends. So a year ago today, I was sitting in this exact spot when I had my first panic attack. I had truly no idea what was happening. The only thing I knew was that I was going to. I know that sounds, oh my God, that sounds really drastic, but it is really how I felt. I had never experienced what was going on. All I knew was I am going to forget to breathe, and this is it. So I'm sitting in front of a door that leads into my backyard. I walked out to the backyard into the corner, and I really felt like this was it. I couldn't control anything. I was spiraling, gasping for air, so in my head that I was almost having an out-of-body experience. And that's really what led me as well to finding ways to get back into my body, because I wasn't in control in that moment at all. I was at the whim of a very old worry pattern, right? It's part of this, okay. So it's part of our fight or flight response, and it is so powerful. It's overwhelming. My prefrontal cortex had completely shut down. I was in complete panic, and I had no way of actually controlling what was happening. That's what I thought. Then I saw someone who gave me the most incredible, I don't even want to say it's a tip, it's beyond a tip. And I know I've actually said that these aren't practices, and I've thought about it a lot since I said that last. And I actually think these are practices. These are things that I am practicing. And when I'm doing that, I'm getting results from that. I'm seeing how that's helping me. So I'm going to reframe it. I'm going to change it to practices. And so today we're talking about practices. And I spoke with a friend and told them what had happened, because it completely rocked me around having what at the time was a panic attack, but I didn't even know that. So I reached out to someone, I spoke to them, and they told me about this practice that's actually really well known. A lot of people know it, but I had never heard of it. And I was in a place of feeling like this is the rest of my life, always waiting for when the next panic attack. I actually took the name away. I started calling them PAs because I felt like I was putting them back into my life. And every time I would think about it, I would pull up out of my body, and I was in this vibration of fear in my mind, and in a loop of, if I think about it, will it happen? If it happens, will I think about it more? So I was in this place, and I wanted to find a way to feel safe again. And so I reached out to a friend, and she helped me with this practice. And I don't know the name of it. I call it the fives. I know it's called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I think there's a few other names, but I call them the fives because I can remember it a lot easier. So this is what I did when I was sitting here last. So the idea is you think of 5 things and you count them down, and you start with 5 things that you can feel. And so if I think about that now, I can feel my hand on my knee. I can feel the cold of my hand against the warmth of my knee. I can feel my foot sitting up on the edge of my bed, so there's a little bit of a strain in the front of my foot. I can feel my arm feeling a little tired, and I can feel my bum cheeks against the bed. And that process of having to get back into my body and really feel pulls me out of that fight or flight loop and switches my prefrontal cortex on and gets me to get back into my body. So I'm back into that logical thinking space of being able to navigate what's actually happening. So it pulls me out of that anxiety and puts me back into my body. And the first time I did it, thinking about what I can feel, I was so afraid that I wouldn't be able to think of it that I actually would dig my fingernails into my palm so that I could have a really real feeling of, okay, that's something that I can feel. I almost had to find it because I was so living in that worry space. So being able to find those like 5 things that I can feel. Okay, I've got those 5 things I can hear. And that, again, that was a next level for me to even think about what are 5 things that, like, right now I can hear the drip of the rain outside. I can hear a bird chirping far away. So I had to really think about those. Even now, like trying to hear them is really difficult. But again, like all of those, like thinking, hearing, then it drops into 5 things that you can smell and 5 things that you can taste. There might be other ways to do it. Those are the 5 that I do. And that has pulled me out of so many worry moments. Even if it's not a PA, even if it's just I'm feeling anxious or I'm feeling worried and I can feel the vibration starting to happen, being able to like focus just on how I feel. Like I drop my shoulders, I can feel myself back in my body. So this has been a game changer for me. The additional thing that I find really interesting about the 5s is that when my friend told me about that practice, I actually had a situation happen. I used that, and then I was on a Zoom call with her, and during the Zoom call, I started having a panic attack. So I was able to do the 5s with her, and that like, it changed. Oh, I can't even give it a big enough word. It was like I had created this, talking about like the deer path, though it wasn't even a well-worn track, but it was so like trauma informed, like fear informed, that it had laid this like solid track of, if I get freaked out, I'm gonna have a panic attack and things are gonna get really bad. And it was like, it wasn't a well-worn deer track, it was just like a deeply grooved one. And so having that session with her and being able to move through a panic attack with support, using a method that if she wasn't there, I could do on my own, it gave me back this sense of feeling like I wasn't out of control and I wasn't at the whim of something that would happen that I had so little control over. And so it like really changed it. So I've had a lot of situations happen since where I feel like a PA is coming on and I just like hand, and this one is always so important for me, like hand on my chest, drop those shoulders down. What's 5 things that I can feel? Number 1, I can feel my hand against the bone of my rib cage. I can feel the tongue against the top of my mouth. And I just go through it. And sometimes that's all I need. That's all I need to do. Sometimes I've done it and been like, okay, I need to do it again. But this has been so helpful. So I'm sure lots of people have heard of it. I had never heard of it because I'd never had a PA. And so if that helps anyone, just even if you feel worried or anxious, or you're in a moment where you're like, you're going to have a difficult conversation, or you're feeling like worried about telling someone something, even that heightened sense of like fear, which puts us into that fight or flight, like just try this. Try just feeling 5 things and then hearing 5 things, then tasting 5 things and smelling 5 things. Like just try those ways of like being able to get back into your body. Because I know for me, it has been a game changer. As I said, even not just PAs, but if I'm feeling anxious or if I'm feeling nervous about a difficult conversation or any of those things that make me feel like my shoulders go up, I feel anxious. It's like, how do I drop back into my body? So yeah, I thought I would share because that one for me has really helped me so much. And so, yeah, I hope it can support you as well if you have a situation like that, or, you know, I don't know, just try it. Like, see what it's like, or read up about it. Whatever you need to do, I have just found it has been so, so helpful. So I hope it helps you.